Or something very, very controversial and extremely important. Now, if you watch, I watched all the
Blumenthal, you're going to
Trump
finish this up.
Thank you,
congressional hearings for
Chairman
his
Paul.
appointees to
I'm
the
the
cabinet.
last of your questioners,
And
so that means I get unlimited amounts of time.
Okay.
this guy has 5 minutes
Not
to
really.
talk. I'm gonna go through. He starts off the first 19
Not even
minutes
close.
with a chuckle and a laugh.
I want to
Yeah,
sort of
whatever.
continue the emphasis on
He's clean
bipartisanship,
cut.
and most especially
Yeah.
on immigration
He's
reform.
got
What
dresses
this nation
nice.
needs is
He's got
comprehensive
he's well
immigration
spoken.
reform.
He's gonna
We
grandstand
know
for
about
about
the need
4
for more
minutes,
H-1B
so
visas
we're gonna
and
fast
other
forward to what
kinds
he
of
says. I'm gonna put it down.
extensions of the visa program that enable
I'll
the
show
United
you
States
right
to have
here. Yeah,
more
it's,
workers
I
that are
did CC it.
desperately
See right
needed
here.
in
CC'd.
certain areas of our
So
country. We know
you'll see
that
the words. He's gonna
there
talk about
has to
border.
be
He's gonna talk
better
what
border
he did.
security generally. We know
This is what
we
happens at all the
need to
congressional meetings.
provide
They
some
talk
kind
about
of path
what they did.
to earn citizenship for a
Luckily,
lot of the
that
undocumented
doesn't
people
help
in
any
this
of us.
country. And we know it's possible.
Like this guy's trying to get
because
reelected.
we did it in
This is what they do.
2013.
Every person does
The
this.
United
so I don't
States
think it's
Senate,
just
as you
him.
will recall,
But
passed
they
a
do
comprehensive
grandstanding. They
immigration
tell,
reform
hey, this is
measure.
what I did in the past. This is what we're going to
Overwhelmingly,
do in the future.
it was bipartisan.
And I'm only telling you this. You know
I
this
was proud to
already,
be a
but I'm
part
telling
of
the
it,
audience that's
going
watching
through the
me
Judiciary
because
Committee,
I
but
only get 5
obviously
minutes and I
it
need
will involve
Connecticut
Homeland
to vote for
Security.
me.
And I hope that we can
That's what's going on
continue
here.
as
And
Senator
just keep an eye
Langford
out.
was a part of
There's this cute little
the
blonde behind
effort
her. And so
in
if you can
the
get that
last
girl's
session
number,
to expand on
or
those
send
efforts
that
and
girl
move
my
forward on
number,
a
I'd
bipartisan basis
appreciate
toward
it. She seems pretty
bipartisan,
nice. Looks like she's
comprehensive
paying attention.
immigration reform.
Listening to every word. Kind of looks like a cutie.
I want to talk to you
Anyway,
a
so
little
let's
bit
go
about
in. Like he's gonna blabber
domestic
for a little
terrorism,
bit. So we're, like I said, he's gonna grandstand for about 3 minutes. So we're
which
gonna actually
we
go look
discussed
at who this guy
during my
is.
previous
And
round, and I know you've discussed it afterward,
it's a little striking.
including
I mean, like I said,
not
he
just
seems like a nice
migrant
guy. He's from
crime and
Connecticut. You're
radicalization
like, who's
by
not nice
ISIS,
from
which are a
Connecticut?
real
But
and present problem.
the
I also want to
problem I
ask
see
you
here is,
about domestic terrorism events
when you look on the fridge, the first thing it tells you is he's
unrelated
worth
to groups
$100 million.
outside our borders.
Now,
We've seen
I
a
didn't write
rise
this,
in
so
anti-Semitism
why is it in the
in this
first
country.
paragraph? I don't know.
It has spiked beyond
Senior U.S. State
any
Senator
prediction.
from Connecticut, a
And
seat has
I want
held
to know if
since
you're
2011,
concerned
member of the
with
Democrat Party. He's one of
anti-Semitic,
the wealthiest members of the Senate,
racist
with a net worth of
events,
over $100 million.
Charlottesville,
He was
Buffalo,
Attorney
Pittsburgh.
General of Connecticut
There's a
from
shorthand
1991
for
to
these
2011.
violent terrorist
So that means
acts
what?
against
Just under
people in the United
$200,000 he's
States.
making a year. So
Yes, Senator, I'm very concerned
for
about
20
what we've
years,
seen in
and
this
he's,
country
maybe
as
has
far as
$2-3
anti-Semitic
million.
violence that has happened.
So,
In
like,
fact, last year
if you
during
look through his history,
our
you're
legislative
just, how do you
session,
make
I
$100
brought
million, dude?
legislation to more clearly define it so that we could fight
Went
it
to
in our
Harvard.
home state.
Excellent.
And I'm hopeful I can work
Worked on
with
the
you to continue to do what we can
went
to make sure
went to
that
Trinity
we are addressing
College,
this rising
and,
threat
then
and
went
not
to
facilitating it in this country.
So he's saying,
And I
stayed
just
around
want to
the
make
same
sure that when you
northeast
say
areas.
we're protecting
But notice
Americans
not New York. So
against terrorism,
I mean,
that we're
Boston.
protecting all Americans, including
So
people
he's in the New England
in
area.
mosques,
Anyway,
in
became the
churches, in
editor-in-chief from
synagogues,
76.
people,
That's not a good
regardless
paying
of
job.
their
Went
worship,
into the
their
reserves.
race, their
That's not a good
background.
paying job.
We need to
Passed
protect
the bar.
all
Okay, maybe
Americans
now we're talking
from
to some
anti-Semitism,
77, 81. He was
racism,
nice as attorney.
Islamophobia.
Okay, that's not
I
great
hope you'll
money. It's
commit
good
to
money.
that
Really good
effort.
money.
Yes, correct.
But not
Thank
$100
you,
million
Senator,
money.
and I look forward to
So we're
working with you
went
to
to
do
85,
that.
87. Okay.
In
So
my closing
I'm failing to
minute and a
see
half,
where
I
he
just want
made
to call
$100
your
million
attention to an effort that I've led
as a
to
government
help
employee.
reunite children
He went against
with
Linda McMahon.
their parents, children who were
awesome.
separated as a
Lieberman
result
left,
of the
and
so-called
became a Connecticut
family
senior senator. He
separation
was elected in
policy
2016. First
in the
party to
last
receive more than 1 million
administration.
votes in a statewide election in Connecticut.
I
Reelected
have
again in
introduced a measure
2020.
called
I don't
Keep
see anything where he
Families
can become
Together,
$100 million.
not only to limit
He went
separation
to
of families
blah,
at
blah,
or near
blah.
ports of
I mean,
entry, but also
there is
the
this one
Families
part. He
Belong
worked, NC,
Together Act
Look at this.
for several Congresses
He
to
was,
help bring
where are you?
the children,
Let me look.
the kids who were
Early
victims
political career.
of this
He's gonna
policy
work
and
for
who
the
still
NC. Where
are
you,
not
buddy?
big back with their parents. I hope that you will support that kind of effort.
Let's pause that for a second. We're gonna go through. Oh my god! I mean, I tell you, even Wikipedia tells too much information. Let's go back. Well, we don't need any of that. Anyway, we're gonna get to the point of the story though. Is this guy's worth $100 million, and this Wikipedia is telling you that he married this Cynthia Balkan. I haven't met her. She's the daughter of Peter Balkan. Again, I don't know her. Granddaughter of Lauren Ween. Okay, I don't know that. 4 children. Yada yada. Representative wealth exceeds $100 million. So where'd it go? Where'd he get it? Most of it is largely from his wife. Influence real estate developer and property managers with holding. But these are, so she has a holding in the Empire States Building, and then her brother-in-law. Why would you talk about your brother-in-law? But the brother-in-law owns New York Islanders, the hockey team. All right, so whatever. But that's not the point of this. It's just weird that this guy makes $100 million. So just remember, he's $100 million in to his career. He's old. He's like 73, I think they said. And most of his money comes from real estate done by his wife. So should we look into that? Maybe we'll look into that more later. But the point, that's not the point of this story at all. But it was weird to see a guy that that has that kind of wealth, $100 million. That's a lot for a guy that's worked in government his whole life.
Senator, the Trump administration never had a family separation policy.
Now that he
But
finally got
also,
done
the Families Belong Together Act for several Congresses to help bring
Dan, how are you?
the
See, she's
children, the kids who were victims of this policy
Anyway.
and who still are not back with their parents. I hope that you will
Listen to this bombshell.
support that kind of effort.
Senator, the Trump administration never had a family separation policy.
So
they had
in the
a
5
zero
minutes-
tolerance policy, which said that our laws would be
and
followed.
it took from
What
4.5
I'm
minutes
alarmed
to
by
say, I
is
hope you
the
can help us with
over
the policy to get back
300,000
kids.
children that went missing during the Biden administration. And when we talk,
Okay, did you hear that? Here we go. Let's
Their
do this again.
parents, children who were
Okay, so it's 3 minutes and 45 minutes into his 5-minute talk. It's going to end up being just under 6 minutes.
separated as a result of the so-called
I'm gonna listen. You can
family
listen to it all by
separation
yourself right here.
policy in the last administration. I have introduced a measure called Keep Families Together, not only to limit
Remember, I told you
separation of
his brain's
families at or near ports of entry, but also the Families Belong Together Act for several Congresses to help bring the children, the kids who were victims of this policy and who still are not back with their parents. I hope that you will support
ready
that
for it?
kind of effort.
Senator, the Trump administration never had a family separation policy. They had a zero tolerance policy, which said that our laws would be followed. What I'm alarmed by is the over 300,000 children
What?
that went missing during the Biden administration. And when we talk about children and what they're potentially facing as far as victimization in this country and the trafficking that's going on, this administration's lack of desire to find out where those children are or what they may be going through is alarming to me. So I want to
because my
stop
time is
that.
expiring, I'm just going to interrupt again with apologies to say, let's put aside.
Well, I can't put aside
Let's put aside
340,000
the
children.
labels. Let's put aside what happened in the past. What? There are still 1,000 children who are separated
God.
and waiting to be reunited. I'd like your commitment that you're going to
What are you?
continue the effort
What are
to
you
reunite
talking
them
about?
with their parents.
Senator, keeping families together is critically important to me and to this country. I'm concerned about Lake and Riley's family, that they know.
What are, like, the girl just dropped a bombshell, that's a continued bombshell that she didn't say it once. She's repeated this throughout the hearing. I'll show you the other ones. But it's in the RFK one. It's in every single one of these congressional hearings. And I didn't know about the 300,000 missing kids. And now she drops this bombshell in a congressional hearing. He doesn't want to talk about it because it's a political issue. Oh, I don't want to be bipartisan. Like I don't want to bipartisan. I want to. Oh my God, dude, he's literally talking about 1,000 kids missing that need to go back to their parents. When she just brought up the bombshell, 300,000 people are missing. 300,000 children are missing. 300,000 children are missing. No. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Let's talk about the 1,000. That's literally 299 1,000 people. Let's get a calculator out right here. Let's get my calculator. Let's see here. She was talking about 340,000 children missing. 340,000, and he is talking about 1,000 people. So the difference of 339,000 kids is the difference. And the first one she mentioned was 300,000 people, and he, remember, 1,000 people. So initially I got excited about the 299,000. I'm doing a calculator because I don't want you to think I'm making up numbers. Yeah, she said, let's clear it. She said 340,000 kids. Okay? He said 1,000 kids. Okay? Okay? So that's our government. This is a guy worth $100 million. He's worried about these 1,000 kids. So I'm guessing these 1,000 kids have parents with a little bit of money that have actually stepped up and said, hey, my kid's missing. Maybe they don't have any money. But the fact that you will dismiss 340,000, I mean, and the worst part about it, and because you can't, this was riddled with this. So it's not just this guy, it's not just the Democrats, it's the obvious lack of showing dialogue to the American citizens that are watching. He'd rather spend his first 20 seconds giving a stupid joke, just to get a no laugh. Like he's got a precious 5 minutes, and he wasted.
Finish this up.
On this
Thank
joke
you,
that he starts off here.
Chairman Paul. I'm the
And then
last
when there comes a real
of your
issue,
questions, so that means
he
I
skips it.
get unlimited amounts of time.
Okay.
Not really.
I can't help but just like look at him,
Not
even
even
laughing at
close.
himself.
I want to sort of continue the emphasis on bipartisanship, and most
He
especially
wants
on
bipartisanship
immigration
because if he
reform.
goes-
What this nation
Oh,
needs
I
is
don't even wanna get into
comprehensive immigration.
You saw it. He wasted
which
30 seconds.
said that
and
our
then
laws would be
when
followed.
When she brought up,
What I'm alarmed by is the over 300,000
See, initially she
children
said
that went
300,000.
missing during the Biden administration. And when we talk about children and what they're potentially facing as far as victimization in this country and the trafficking that's going.
sex trafficking ring, Jeff Epstein. Like you can't just misplace 300,000 people in a Democrat-run program and not think that Jeffrey Epstein type of crimes are being committed, because they're obviously, and she says it's riddled in here, they're obviously in a sex ring. They obviously were stolen and put into a sex ring, these children. Stolen children, immigrant children. So when you hear Democrats talking about, hey, no, we don't want to deport the immigrants, okay, Are you saying you'd rather them be part of that 300,000 that we lose? The 300,000 kids that we, like, what are we talking about? And it might be totally unrelated, but, like, this is what goes in my head. Like, Jeffrey Epstein. You can't miss 300,000 kids, even 1,000 kids. Jeffrey Epstein, Franklin scandal. There's all these high politicians. There's the kings over in England, the kings and the queens and the princesses, and prince and princesses that are being accused of this in the sex trafficking ring with Jeff Epstein. There's Clinton involved. There's Obama involved. There's Trump. Like Trump looks like the obvious link because of where he lives and where Epstein lived and where they went. But there's bigger people, bigger fish than Trump. I mean, how can you get bigger than a president? But there was President Clinton that obviously seems a lot closer than Trump. Maybe not obviously. I mean, they're comparative, right? But it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. You don't want kids missing, and you definitely don't want a sex trafficking ring, and you definitely don't want an American-funded immigrant sex trafficking ring. It doesn't matter Democrat or Republican. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying it sucks that this Democrat who's supposed to be on the moral ground against these Trump people, and that's all I hear from the Democrats is how much these Trump people are the moral whatever. And then she's bringing up 300,000. He's talking about 1,000. Either way, there's kids missing. to dismiss it is gross. You know, I don't kind of blame him. I blame him for not having the dialogue to go along with what she said with that 300,000. But like you saw right here, she mentioned the 300,000, and then
Policy,
she says
which
again, she
said
says
that our
over
laws would be
300,000.
followed. What I'm alarmed by is the over 300,000 children that went missing during the Biden administration.
gotta
And when we talk
fact
about
check this
children
stuff, too.
and what they're potentially facing as far as victimization in this country and the trafficking that's going on,
Jeffrey Epstein, like trafficking, yeah.
this administration's lack of desire to find out where those children are or what they may be going through is alarming to me. So I want to
because my
stop
time is
that.
expiring, I'm just going to interrupt again.
See, I interrupt this, like, I mean, his own words. I apologize to interrupt this. I only have a couple minutes left. You started with a joke, dude, and she brought up a real dialogue, and you're dismissing it. And you're worth $100 million, and you're talking about 1,000. Like, it doesn't look good. You know, he brought up a lot of good things, but then he brings back, I don't know this guy. He might be awesome. So I'm not trying to make this Democrat or Republican. I want the dialogue happening. And he dismissed the dialogue of what she brought up, and she obviously thinks it's important. That's the last guy in the hearing that she can bring it up, and she's pounding it in, and good for her for pounding it in, because I didn't know about it. I didn't know if it was real. And if you keep pounding this away at your congressional hearing that's being public, you know, this is being broadcast everywhere right now. It's on, they put it on PBS. Not that I like PBS any better than the rest of them, but it's out there for all of us citizens to see. And we need dialogue on this immediately. And this guy just, it crushes me. It crushes all belief in my senators and my congressmen when they skip over this stuff that's a huge elephant in the room, and they refuse to have dialogue on these huge, important issues. So that's what I get worked up about. So if you don't want to talk about it, or if it's only 1,000, it doesn't matter. It's still missing children that are unaccounted for and need to be found, and blame needs to be pointed at somebody. This is not a Democrat and Republican, because as we saw with Epstein, there's a lot of sick people out there. And just to show you that I'm not making this up, if we go back here and we Google the 300 immigrants, all the major players are talking about. Here's Patrick talking about. I don't know if you've watched him. I don't know if you believe him. He does a good job. He's it's on YouTube over here. It's on Facebook, News Nation, can't trust. Sky News, can't trust. Tucson, I mean, okay. That actually might be good. So I want you guys to go look, Google this and then look it up. ICE, cloud demands answers from ICE over nearly 300,000. Bipartisan concern, binary mission, open borders. I mean, it's obviously an issue. This is cool. So that's a C-130 plane. I don't know if you've ever seen a C-130, but that's what they look like. They're awesome. So it's not just me. It's not just in the hearings, but look at these people that are paying attention to this. And I bring it up to my leftist friends, and I'm like, they're dismissing. I'm just like, dude, don't even talk to me if you can't address this. Don't tell me what Trump is doing with Elon Musk, trying to find fraud and all this stuff. We got kids missing, and we need to put out the Amber Alert. Okay, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. This needs to be this is one of the biggest things out there. And to be dismissed by this guy just drives me nuts. But it was dismissed over and over again, and I'll show you that. So I'm not condemning this guy. I'm not condemning this Democrat. It is weird that it's $100 million. It is weird that he cut her off. It is weird that they're not doing dialogue. But there are so many more things saying there's missing children. So let's start talking about this, please and thank you. My name is Josh Fox. I just want to bring some of these overlooked issues out. Again, it was here's where
Mr. Kennedy, welcome to you and your family, and congratulations. I appreciate Senator.
It was throughout these congressional hearings, and they're so terrible to watch. And I don't blame the American citizen for not watching it, but I do blame the media for not, that should be all we're talking about. All right, that's my take. I hope you guys are doing well. God bless. I hope we get united.